There's a disc talking. Patios.
About ready.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have a pop-up, right?
Nope.
You have any Zoomers?
We have Alton and McCool. Alton Yates, Jerry McCool.
And Jerry.
Yep.
Good afternoon, parliamentarians and guests. Great to see you all today. Another gorgeous day. I don't know if you guys dialed this up or what.
Just for you.
Day. Wonderful to see you all. As Palmer Bell comes forward to give our invitation, if you would just turn real quickly and say hello to the person next to you. Great, thank you, Palmer.
Well, I'm going to do a little something different for our invocation today. Many of you probably noticed that Monday was the United Nations International Happiness Day. And since happiness is more than a little bit subjective, I turned to my favorite source to find out what happiness really is like, which is the old-time Peanuts cartoons. Happiness is a warm puppy. Happiness is a thumb and a warm blanket. It's a pile of autumn leaves. It's three friends in a sandbox and no fighting. It's bread and butter sandwiches folded over. It's finding someone at your front door and realizing you like them. And as only Snoopy can say, happiness is a piece of fudge caught on the first bounce. May God bless our Rotary lunch and all our projects and bring happiness with friends, friendships that are beginning, friendships that are fostered, plenty of bread and butter, and memories of contentment. And may all our desserts be caught on the first bounce.
That's great. Thank you, Palmer. For me, happiness is being here with y'all. So thank you, Palmer. Lee Davis is going to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, President Sean. Fellow Rotarians, please join me to salute the flag of the greatest nation on earth. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Palmer and Lee. Appreciate that. And thank you to past President Mary Pat and Tim Johnson, who were back there being greeters for us today. Thank you very much. Last call for raffle ticket purchases, if you haven't bought your tickets yet. And the only pop-up I have on my list is that next week we will not meet at lunch. We'll have a social at Black Sheep. Social at Black Sheep at 5:30. So please, if you can attend, let me just, if you know if you'll be able to attend that's next Wednesday, 5:30 Black Sheep, just a show of hands if you know you can be there. Okay, great, thank you. But if you will, and you can go home and check your calendars or check with the person that manages your calendar. And go on DAC-DB and let us know, that would be great. Black Sheep next Wednesday, 5:30, no meeting here that day at lunch. Are there any pop-ups that I'm not aware of that I don't remember? Not that I'm not aware of, I don't remember. Ed?
So Scott Emray is doing well, recovering. So he's gonna start his treatments in the next week. So thanks for his thoughts and prayers on Dr. Scott Emray.
Thank you very much. And I forgot to give a shout out to our Zoomers who are with us today. I believe that's Alton, Jerry, and Will.
And Meredith, Mike, and Randy.
Oh, and Meredith, Mike, and Randy. So we're very glad that you're with us today, guys. Thank you for being there. Mary Pat, past president Mary Pat.
Hey, y'all, I have a pop-up, but it's more like a shout out to Dan, for helping us with our AC unit late on a Friday afternoon when we had one. And hooked up after hours and got us up. Thank you, Dan.
Family of Rotary, taking care. Okay, Palmer Bell, Family of Rotary. Good segue. Thanks for setting that up. Thanks for teeing that up, Mary Pat.
And again, slow news week, so let's launch into birthdays. And there are many, because we're covering this week, we're covering next week, and until we meet again, which will be April 4th or so. So Clint Dawkins is on the 25th. Bob Hyde is on the 27th. Joe Springer is on the 29th. Ed Pratt Daniels and Chris Berge are on the 31st. Del Wallace is on April 1st. Robert Kudelka is on April 3rd, as is Shep College. So happy birthday to you all. In light of the fact that we're about to launch into April, when it's April and there are April showers, it's raining cats and dogs, what do you get? Hearing no suggestions, you get poodles.
I'm gonna leave that one right there. Okay, Larry, our drawing. Larry Daly with our raffle drawing.
Number is 0684715.
No way.
Come on, come on.
Okay, thank you. And
Correct.
okay, so pinch hitting today for Carter is, as Sergeant at Arms, is William Loving. William?
Good afternoon, Rotarians. It's an honor. It's some big shoes to fill for Carter, but we wish him well as he's not here today. We have two guests today. Larry Daly, you brought both of them. Will you please introduce your guests? You take the money and run?
He stepped up.
Okay. All right, okay. We'll get back to him in a minute. But we do have a very, very special visiting Rotarian today. Will Timothy Kakusa please stand up? Thank you so much for being here from the Morrow. Stay for a second. He's visiting us from the Mokono and Uganda Club today, and we have a very special presentation for you. Larry Daly, will you please introduce your guests?
Fellow Rotarian, I introduce Robert Gordon and his partner Alexander Watson. Remember we were talking
Right.
about Robert is the guy who was going to take control of the title. So, thank you for everything.
All right, thank you, President Sean. This concludes my report.
Great, thank you, William. So it's my honor today to get to introduce our speaker. And one of the things that I wanted our club to get to do is get to know a little more about UNF. And our speaker today was going to come and speak to us back in the fall, and a little thing called a hurricane interrupted our meeting that particular day. And so I really appreciate Nick agreeing to come, to cancel that day and come another day. But Nick Morrow is the athletic director at UNF, the University of North Florida, and he's been with them since the summer of 2011. And he was named the director of athletics back in the summer of 2021. He's already survived his first change in administration, change in president. So congratulations, that's a lot, that's saying a lot. And our new president was here and spoke to us a couple of months ago. So everybody's met him. I first met Nick when I started at UNF, started working at UNF, and he was what I call a CFO, but he had a fancy title, some senior associate athletic director or something. But he handled all the money for the University of North Florida's athletic department, as well as their development efforts there. And I believe, really took all of that, really increased the development and increased the fundraising there, and has just done great things there at the University of North Florida. And the program there is just really growing. And if you're ever over there, you need to go see the facilities, because under Nick's guidance and leadership, the facilities are growing and increasing, and it's just, the program's really growing. And I think that's fantastic. Prior to joining UNF, he was the assistant athletic director at the University of Maryland. He was also an event coordinator and accounting assistant at the University of Florida at the Stephen O'Connell Center. And he also worked in the University of Florida's Department of Recreation and the University Athletic Association. His bachelor's degree in accounting, he got over at the University of Florida, and got his MBA at the University of Maryland. He's a native of Jacksonville, where he went to Nice High School. And I've seen his children, they're precious. no more since then, right? 3 children, just 3 children, and they're precious. So he's a native of Jacksonville. I'm really proud of him. And I've been around a lot of athletic directors over the years, and I would tell you that the ability to raise money is very important in an athletic director. The ability to get along with the big donors, and especially the board and the president, is very, very important. But I think what makes an athletic director especially successful and special is when they believe in the school and they believe in the program. And I see that greatly in Nick. So if you would help me welcome Nick Morrow, the Director of Athletics at the University of Morrow.
All right, good afternoon. Appreciate you having me here. Joining me is Matt Leszewski. He's our Senior Associate AD. He's been with us for a year, come from Dayton. We actually work together. At the University of Maryland. And so, I'm big into hiring people I know, good character people, positive energy. They're really going to go out there and work hard. And when I had our position open up after I got promoted to AD, he was one of the first calls that I made. So happy he's here and happy to be here. A little fun fact. I was a founding member of the Rotary Club of Nocatee. We can't call ourselves Nocatee because that was trademarked. So it became Rotary Club of Ponte Vedra. I am not a member currently, but I helped get it off the ground and spent a couple of years with them. I'm going to go through, I got a pretty lengthy presentation. We'll only be here for about 90 minutes or so. But I do have a little bit of lengthy, so I'm going to move fast, right? I'll load you with a lot of information, but it's because I'm passionate about UNF. And I'm passionate about what it can do for the city. I'm passionate about what the athletic department can do for the university and helping it become a national brand. And so I know it's a really big river, and I don't know if you live on this side of the river, but I really recommend you cross the river and come check us out whenever possible. So I'm gonna show me how to do it. That's the wrong button.
I'll do it for you.
All right, we'll just scroll down. So I want to go over a little bit of a university overview. And usually I move around a lot in the room.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Move all you want. We're focused on that.
You have the mic at the whole time?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move it a little bit. That's just kind of my nature and how I like to do things. But first we'll go over kind of our athletics overview. Who is UNF Athletics? So we've been Division I since 2009, 2010. That's when we became a full member of the Division I. We have 19 Division I teams. We do not have football. And I know someone's going to in here is going to ask me, are we going to add football? I'll go ahead and answer that now, not anytime soon. All right. It's extremely expensive to put that on. We can go into the details of that later, but it's not in our plans at this time. We want to support the 19 teams that we have. We have a $14 million operating budget. We host about 125 events a year. You can see the different sport offerings that we have over there. One thing we have is beach volleyball. Beach volleyball is a really cool sport. It became an NCAA full-fledged sport just in the past few years. We were one of the first handful of schools in the entire country to sponsor the sport of beach volleyball at the NCAA level. Our conference, the ASUN conference, was the first conference in the entire country to sponsor beach volleyball. And so we also put on the first ever conference championship. UNF won the first ever conference championship. So we will always be able to say we were the first ever conference champion in NCAA beach volleyball. We were a great facility, really fun sport. They play music the whole time. You can come in sandals, you can sit courtside, a lot of activity. It's a really cool vibe. It's a really cool event. We've got the men's and women's soccer, baseball, softball, basketball, volleyball, track and field we'll talk about later. Really strong golf programs. So those familiar with UNF golf, we are actually one in the top 30, ranked in the top 30 nearly every single year. We've been to NCAA finals 6 of the past 11 seasons. There's very few schools in the entire country that can say that. A lot of talent in this area, and a lot of our talent, a lot of our student athletes are actually from the Jacksonville area. Almost the entire roster is Florida, and a lot of that Florida roster is also from Jacksonville. So really proud of that fact. So we'll keep moving along. Let's talk about academic excellence. So we are student athletes first. That's always been a priority to us. It always will be a priority to us. Academics. So look at fall 22, some of our stats. Overall department GPA was a 3.54. across all 300 of our student athletes. It was the highest GPA we've had yet. Really proud of that fact. All 19 teams were over a 3.3 GPA. We had 57 4.0s, 170 on the dean's list. We had about 290 student athletes. You can see the percentage that made the dean's list. Over 255 had over a 3.0. So really proud of the academic stats we've had. We've now had 23 straight semesters where we've been over a 3.0 GPA as a department. We've had 30 ASUN Scholar Athlete of the Year. Basically means you're really smart and you're really good at your sport and you become the Scholar Athlete of the Year. We've had 30 of those over the past 10 years. Besides what we're doing academically in the classroom, what are we doing to help develop the student athlete? So we've developed a leadership program that allows them to get a leadership certificate, a leadership minor. We've also done career development. So when they come in their freshman year, they're thinking about, okay, what do I do to start building my resume now? How do I start building my network now? One disadvantage that student athletes have is they don't have time to go out and get internships and jobs like a lot of students, because NCAA college athletics is a full-time 12-month out of the year job now. So they don't have time to be able to go and get those internships, boost up their resume. So what are we doing to help them boost their resume and expand their skill set? People want to hire student athletes because time management, work ethic, teamwork, those things that you don't necessarily teach in the classroom, our student athletes are getting. But how do they get into the interview to help sell themselves? And that's what we help with from that side of things. Also, life skills, where are we filling in the gaps? Financial literacy, taxes. There's this new thing out there called name, image, likeness. I'm sure everyone pays attention in athletics and you're kind of familiar with that is. We're trying to give them information on how to handle that as well. Competitive success, since 2009 and 10, we've won 54 conference championships. We've been to 88 NCAA championship appearances. We've had 47 ASUN Player of the Year honors, 36 ASUN Coach of the Year honors. Any JU people in here? Might want to, close your ears for this one. So 9 River City Rumble wins out of the past 11 seasons. So we have dominated our crosstown rival when it comes to all the sports going head to head. So basically when we play JU, there's a point up for grabs every time we play them. Total up the number of points throughout the year. Whoever has the most points, they win the Rumble. And so we've won that 9 out of the past 11 years. So I believe athletics, their role in a Division I setting and institution is to really provide exposure. You go D1 because you want that exposure. You want that Fairleigh Dickinson moment. You want that St. Peter's moment. You want that Butler moment, right? And that's why you go Division I, so you can have success and you can have that exposure. There's other ways to get it as well, besides a magical Cinderella run in the NCAA tournament. So we actually really emphasize or really put a lot of resources recently into our creative content. What are we doing social media wise? What are we doing from broadcast wise? How can we spread the UNF brand? UNF, the athletic department, is the greatest marketing tool the university has. We are the front porch. We have the ability to recruit students, not just student athletes, but students, bring alumni back to campus, generate that media exposure. And so here's a lot of our numbers on what we've done recently for the university between our website views. And one thing we've really worked hard at and took an initiative on is our ESPN Plus broadcast and making sure we're streaming and broadcasting every one of our events. So we have an ESPN Plus deal where we're broadcasting about 70 events a year. We have a control room that looks just like any other ESPN control room, just at a smaller scale. We work with our communications school. We get students from there that actually run the cameras and they run the systems. So they're getting hands-on experience, and then we're putting on a quality production as well. And so if you have the internet and the ESPN app, you can watch Osprey play anywhere in the world. And that's really cool, especially when we have international student athletes who can dial in and watch. If we're not able to put it on ESPN Plus, we put it on our website. We're streaming it. So again, just log on to our website, got a link, and you're streaming it. It's not as many cameras or quite the full production, but you can watch the game. And we usually put announcers with them. And again, anywhere in the world, anybody can watch the Ospreys play. And that's really important to us. Again, it helps us spread the brand, bring exposure. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the left. It kind of just shows our budget comparison to where we are in the ASUN. I want to focus more on the right. The scholarship side of things. Most people automatically assume that you're Division I, therefore you're fully funded and have all the scholarships for your sports. Far from the truth. If we fully funded all 19 of our teams, so the NCAA only allows you to hand out a certain number of scholarships per sport. we handed out the full allotment, we would hand out 161.2 scholarships. Right now, we hand out 109.34 scholarships. The most we've ever handed out is 115. So we're 50 scholarships short of being fully funded right now for all 19 of our teams. Hand out about 2.8 million scholarships a year on average, with 230 of our student athletes of our 290 that typically receive scholarships. So you see, we've got a little ways to go, and that's one way we can boost our competitiveness to be the best in the ASUN conference, make some noise in the national tournament, is by investing more in scholarships. We actually discovered back in 2014 that we were short funding the men's scholarships. So Title IX is gender equity, so it works both ways, and we actually had more funds going to women and less to men than we should have. So the way they do Title IX is you take your enrollment, your full-time enrollment at your university, so in our case, 56% female, our participation, our scholarship budget, our operating budget needs to be within 1% of that 56%. So 56% of our scholarships need to go to the female sports and the female athletes. Well, we were actually over 60%. So we actually infused another 150 to 200,000 into men's sports. 1 year later, we won the men's all sports trophy in our conference and rattled off 3 in a row. That's not coincidence. That shows you if you invest in scholarships and you can go out there and get the best recruits you can, then you will go and be more competitive as a result. So we're in our strategic plan we just released last summer. Our goal is to get fully funded across the board. Our goal is to make sure we're in the top 25% in operating budgets, top 25% in salaries, and we can recruit and retain the best coaches. And then we can compete for a championship in every single sport, every single year. We've had flashes of success in every one of our sports. There's only a handful that have really, truly sustained it. Men's and women's golf, men's and women's tennis, men's cross country and beach volleyball. And why? Because they're in the top half of our conference in funding. Again, not a coincidence. So our strategic plan is built around making sure that our athletes and our programs get the resources they need to succeed. Again, this is really tiny font, so I don't expect you to read it, but again, it's a financial breakdown of where kind of our revenue comes from. Where do our expenses go and some fundraising numbers. So I use this slide when I talk to the board of trustees and the foundation board. I'll go to something more exciting for you guys. The cost of a student athlete. So this is just a fun slide to kind of show what it takes to truly fund a student athlete. You got tuition, the difference between in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition. Health and wellness, that's your student athlete insurance, your trainers, what we're spending on just general sports medicine, athletic training supplies, housing. What does it cost to house a student athlete these days? What about a meal plan, team travel, books and supplies, uniforms, equipment, volleyballs, basketballs. And then there's this new thing out there, the cost of attendance. And then of course, a new thing out there, also an academic award, which I don't know if you're familiar with, but a few years ago, NCAA lost a lawsuit. And basically they were, now all the NCAA institutions were allowed to hand out what they called an academic award. Also was the other side of the lawsuit. And so now every institution can hand out $5,980 to their student athletes, whether a walk-on or scholarship. It does not count towards the scholarship limit, and they can use it for academic achievement. You can do it both all kinds of, like a laptop, iPad. You can hand out all sorts of type of stuff. And one thing you can hand out is an award. And so whether you say you got to hit a 3.0 and you get money, or you just need to stay academically eligible and you get money. So now all of a sudden, especially the Power 5 that have those resources, are handing out full scholarship. They're doing all you can eat, 24/7 cafeterias. They're handing out cost of attendance. They're handing out the academic award. Before I know it, they got all the equipment, food they could ever need, plus they got about 12 grand in their pocket on top of the scholarship, and everything's already paid for. And that's the reality of where the top level NCAA Division I athletics is right now. And that's before you get into the name, image, likeness as well. So it's crazy how far it's evolved just over the past few years. But that's part of putting on a student athlete at the Division I level, things that we're working towards. Today is UNF Giving Day today, and this is a message that we're spreading to show what it costs for student athletes, because we're not able to fund all 300 of our student athletes at this level right now. And so we're really pushing to get there and make sure they have the best experience possible, that we're feeding them properly, we're equipping them properly, we're traveling properly. It's something we're working really hard and spreading that message. So let's move on to facilities. This is some of the fun stuff we've done recently. Anybody go to UNF Arena for a basketball game this past season? Anybody ever been before that? Before that, okay. So it's a whole nother look. If you haven't been this season we just finished, but you've been previously, you got to come. You got to check out our new experience. We dropped $3.5 million worth of work into the arena this past summer. We got a new floor, we got new lighting, a new sound system. We put in a hospitality suite that's high level. It's got a full liquor bar, all you can eat and drink before you come there. It's we just put on a whole new show than we ever had before, and that was the idea. We wanted fans that came back to have a whole new fan experience that they've never seen before, and having a great time around the product on the court as well. And so it's worked. All of our numbers were way up: ticket sales, attendance, student attendance, everything that all the metrics we use were way up, and we had an average season. You know, and so really we're working on trying to, okay, let's couple the winning with the fan experience. Before you know it, we're going to be able to sell that thing out on a regular basis. And that's our goal, and that's what we're working towards. Really cool upgrades. I highly recommend you come check out a game next year. I'm thinking we need a Rotary Club night at one of the basketball games. So we'll have to set that up.
That'd be fun.
All right. What's next for UNF Arena? Obviously, that's one of our biggest facilities. Gets a lot of traffic. Now that we've done the interior of it, we want to move towards, okay, getting a naming right. I want to attract more events outside of basketball and volleyball. We're hosting Guns N' Hoses in a couple weeks. We have a gala coming in. We got the Harlem Globetrotters coming in, and we want to attract more and more events so then we can turn that into really a true multi-purpose facility and attract a naming right partner. Get a naming right partner, then we can expand to what that top left looks like. Give it a new face, because it's 30 years old almost, the arena, so it needs a new facelift. Push it out, expand it, create a lobby space, which is the top right that we could run events through. Right now, our biggest need from a basketball standpoint is new locker rooms. We got plans and renderings for that, and that's kind of just showing you there what we're working on from that standpoint. But the arena, we want to keep pouring into it. That new hospitality suite, we're going to have a waiting list on that next year, which is exciting because now I'm like, okay, what else can we do? What other premium options can we add into this facility to really drive traffic and drive a new fan experience? Sporting events these days, you've got to have something that they can't get from sitting on the couch watching from home. So what kind of experience can you provide you can't get at home now? This technology is so good. Like, I prefer to sit home most days. Watch events. I don't, but what else can drive traffic and drive attendance to our events? Other recent facility projects we've done, we'll start at the top right. Cooper Beach Volleyball Complex, one of the best beach volleyball complexes in the entire country, 5 courts, tremendous facility, really fun events that we talked about already. Softball complex, we put about $1.5 million worth of work. We went from one of the worst high school softball facilities in the city to one of the best in our conference now. Really fun, again, intimate experience, great seating, kind of situation that we've got going on. Swimming pool, we just added a swimming pool last 2 Septembers ago. We were competing at bowls for the previous 8 years before that. So our student athletes, Division I student athletes, were getting in 15-passenger vans before the sun came up, driving across town to bowls to practice, driving back, wasting a ton of time when they could have been studying in class, just making themselves better. And now they're 20 feet from their locker room jumping into the pool. It's a huge upgrade for us. Signed the fastest recruiting class we ever have as a result of adding that. Broke a bunch of program records this past year. And so that program is trending up because of that facility. It shows you what new facilities can do, state of the art. Now, the Visit Jacks track at Hodges Stadium. This one's pretty cool. I love talking about this, bragging about this. We have become the track and field destination of the East Coast. Since 2011, we've hosted a bunch of track meets, including the NCAA Track and Field East Preliminary. The way the NCAA championships work, you take the Mississippi River, cut the country in half. Everybody east of the Mississippi River goes to the East Prelim. Everyone west goes to the West Prelim. We've hosted the East Prelim. We'll host in May for the 6th time in 11 years. And we're hosting alongside the Kansas and Texas of the world. No one's hosted the prelims more than we have at UNF. Every time we host that, we're generating 11,000 room nights and $8 million impact in the city of Jacksonville through one track meet. Since we've gotten into the track business, we've generated 160,000 room nights and $130 million since 2011, just through track that we host March through June. So that's a huge impact. So we've gone to the city and we're like, hey, track's at the end of its lifespan. We really need some money to resurface it. And we got a $1.2 million grant to resurface our track so we keep that business going. And then we also resurfaced a 3-lane track right next to it. And so now, went back again and said, hey, we're getting a lot more events, more people want to come here. We're hosting AAU National Championship, we hosted the US Junior Olympics. Bob Hayes, who's familiar with that, the Bob Hayes track meet, one of the most prestigious high school meets in the country, just moved from Reigns to UNF. We hosted them this past weekend. That's the kind of, we're going to host 11 events and 28 days of track just this spring alone. So we went to the city again and said, hey, we want to take that next step. We want to keep these events coming back. What we need is a new video board. What we need is a new throws cage. We need lighting that can brighten up the entire facility to national broadcast level lighting. If we do that, we can go after a national championship. And so we got another 1.45 million from the city to get that done. And we're in the midst of completing that project next month. So the bid cycle for the next national championship comes up this summer, and we're going after it. You know who hosts the national championship nearly every single year?
Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon. They have about a $200 million stadium. We can't quite compete with the stadium part, but everything else, we're better than that. Got a better destination, better airport, better hotels, better logistics set up at our facility. So I don't want to host that national championship every year, but we want to take it from Oregon 1 year. We're going to go after it. And so I think the next eligible year is going to be 2026, but this bid cycle comes into play this year. And so we're going to go after and try and get that national championship here to Jacksonville for at least 1 year. So what's next for us? Because when I took over a little over a year and a half ago, I said, I want a vision for every one of our facilities, every one of our sports. You don't know who you're going to come across that's going to have a passion just for tennis or just for soccer. So we need to have a vision for all of it. And so we're almost done with our facility master plan, but a couple projects here is the UNS soccer complex. Going back to Hodges Stadium, right now, they actually host our men's and women's soccer program in addition to track and field. And we want to get them out of there. We want to get them to their own facility where they have their own competition and practice facility, have their own clubhouse, get them out of Hodges Stadium. Twofold: one, that immediately elevates the UNS soccer program if we get them out of there into their own facility. Two, what it does is gets them out of Hodges Stadium, and now Hodges Stadium becomes even more of an event center. Now we're not worried about the integrity of the field, so we could host a high school football game week. Maybe we could do a Florida-Georgia border war, battle of the bands, lacrosse event. Now we can open up that facility to generate even a greater economic impact. It's the great facility for that. It holds about 9,400 people. No high school facility in the city is coming anywhere near that. And then the next level up after that is TIA Bank, and that's too big for a lot. So we're at really good size to host some really special events. And that's what we want to do. And that's what soccer complex could help as a side benefit to helping our soccer program. Tennis clubhouse, that's another one we want to build to elevate the profile of the tennis programs. They're always top 75 in the country, won a ton of conference championships. So we're trying to level them up and get into the top 40, where if they don't win their conference championship, they can get an at-large berth into the NCAA tournament. Baseball is another one I'd love to get done. It's one of the oldest facilities we have, falling apart. When it was built, it was one of the best facilities in the country. We were NAI at the time, and now it's just hasn't been touched in so long, 35, almost 40 years, that we really need to upgrade that. So that's something I'm passionate about doing, because baseball following here in this city is tremendous. I knew it was popular. I knew it was popular at UNF because of the past success and Dusty Rhodes and a lot of momentum behind it, a lot of proud tradition. But they have more followers for baseball on our social media accounts than our general athletics account does. I hear more noise about the condition or the state of the program for baseball than I do any other sport, including men's basketball. So I know there's a great passion for it. If we can get that thing rolling, I think this city really could get behind it. And then a softball batting cage is something we need covered, weather protected. We're going to work on that as well. The next one, this is hot off the press. So we just got these designs as concepts on Friday. This is about a sports performance center to benefit all 300 athletes. This is a high performance center where we have a new weight room, new athletic training room that would double the size of the existing thing that actually is in Hodges Stadium, academic support center, somewhere where we treat them for nutrition, mental health, and performance. Everything it takes to building a holistic student athlete would take place in this one facility. Something I really want to see this one get done, because it could have such an impact on the development of the student athlete. And this actually is right next to our beach volleyball courts, and we would actually add a beach volleyball locker room and offices in that as well, which would continue to elevate that program, make them the best in the country. And so it's really cool just working with an architect right now on designing these. These are the first renderings that came through, so you're the first group of people that I'm showing it. So But it's a really cool project and will be part of our overall facility master plan that we're going to be unveiling by the end of spring. So you can see a lot of facilities, a lot of things happening that we're trying to get done. But again, I'm super passionate about UNF. I think the potential is unreal. I've been there for 12 years in the college athletics world. People won't stay in one spot for 12 years. They're constantly moving, but Jacksonville is home for me. I grew up here. I went to Nice High School. I got all my family and friends here. And just what I think UNF could do for the city is it just continues to drive me. And I'm more energized today than I was back in 2011 when I stepped foot on campus. And really want to paint this vision and get it out there and hope people that in the city backs us up and helps us make this happen. That's my presentation. I told you I had a lot of info. A lot of things to throw out there. Questions? No, we're not going to.
And please repeat their questions for our home viewers.
So my question is about the swimming program. They closed it down years ago. It was an indoor facility. Can you talk through that process of bringing sport back and building a new facility?
Sure. Talk about swimming and they closed the facility. So the program was never actually shut down. They kept going, but the facility was. And so then we ended up, I said we're at bowls the whole time. We actually did a year or two at Episcopal and then switched over to bowls. But it wasn't a good situation for the program, let's put it that way. But yeah, the facility actually had $2 million plus worth of maintenance work, deferred maintenance that had been ignored. And it got to a point like you either have to dump a bunch of money and get this right, or regroup and build something new. At the time, the university actually had a really big need for campus recreational basketball courts. We didn't have any on campus of 16,000 students. What they did is use the UNF arena. So they would have a basketball class in the morning, volleyball practice, women's basketball practice, men's basketball practice. Court got cleared at 7. Then the students could come in and do intramurals or open rec. And for a school that size, that was unheard of. So they said, okay, let's fill this in and make them recreation courts, solve that need, and then we'll regroup and build a swimming pool. Problem is, the plan was to build a swimming pool within the next 2 to 3 years, and ended up being 8 years before it got built. So, yeah, really rough time for our program in terms of how do you recruit to that? But now we're in a better place. Now what we need to do is infuse more scholarship money into them, and then they can go after a conference championship. Yes, sir.
During the off season for like basketball and everything, do you have any programs that are specific to the high schools here in Jacksonville to help those athletes that might want to go to UNF, or even if they want to go to other schools? Do you have any type of off season programs for basketball?
Yeah, our coaches do put some camps on, and I know one thing that Coach Driscoll does is team camps. He's big into bringing in the high school teams and doing camps that way. He'll speak to them, and Coach Driscoll's tremendous. If you have not heard him speak, there's Dunkin' Donuts coffee running through his veins, and when you're done talking to him, you will run through a wall. But he is one of the. I know servant leadership gets tossed around a lot, but you're not going to find a bigger definition of servant leadership than you will Coach Driscoll. So he'll talk to anybody too. He's flies all over the place doing speaking engagements about those kind of things. But in terms of hosting on campus, they do a team camp every summer where they interact with quite a few different teams. Yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to answer your question about who's been at UNF Arena lately. I've been there twice this year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Both of my sons graduated from high school of business this year, and it just happened to be a 50th-year anniversary.
That's right.
And my question is to how do I properly do the swoop?
I like that.
Repeat that question.
Yeah. And so first off, congratulations on all those things. And yeah, how do you properly do the swoop? So your hands got to go up. So it's hands up and you step and swoop. Yeah.
One more time.
And so there's a really cool video out right now of a osprey slow motion going into the ocean, and they go, I should know this stat, they go really deep in the ocean, completely disappears, comes back up with a big barracuda in his talons. and it's all slow motion and stuff. And we got to use that for an intro video next year. There's got to be some way we can use that, but I recommend looking it up. It's pretty cool.
And the nature trails are awesome out there too.
All right, I'm telling you, campus, like, it's not hard when we get people to come to UNF, they'll love it and recruit there. It's not hard. The hard part right now is educating people across the country who UNF is, where we're at, what we have to offer. But we're located in such a great part of Jacksonville. The nature trails, we have over 1,400 acres on our campus now. Put that in perspective, FSU has 440. We're a very large campus, have the room to expand. A lot of it we won't build on because it's wetlands, but when you pull on campus, you don't know you're in Jacksonville. You don't know you're right across the street from that crazy place called the town center. You know, you don't know you're 7 miles from the beach or downtown. It's an incredible campus. I would highly recommend you come. We get so much going on a regular basis.
Nick, I got a question for you, man.
Okay.
I got a question for you. Regarding the rapidly evolving transfer portal, the current landscape of collegiate athletics now, obviously you reeled off tremendous academic stats among your student athletes. What is your confidence level about student athlete retention, given the environment, and preventing good coaches from throwing their hands up in the air saying, I'm out of here, I can't keep a roster?
Well, I think you're seeing those coaches kind of start throwing their hands out. Oh, Jay Wright retiring out of nowhere last year, that really caught people off guard. And I think it's because of the way the overall system is evolving. The thing is, you can't fight it. You're going to have to just change the way you operate or kind of adapt to it. You know, what can we do to help prevent somebody from transferring, getting coached to the next level? Our top basketball players, the next level school is talking to the AAU coaches or the high school coaches, who's getting in the ear of our best players saying, hey, if you go in the portal, these people will talk to you. And that's happening everywhere in the country. And that's the bad side of the portal. Same thing with name, image, likeness. I love the idea of a student athlete being able to benefit off their social media, their likeness. They can start a YouTube, if a biology student can start a YouTube channel and make money, what can a student athlete? Like, I like that part of it. Unfortunately, it's evolved in, hey, come to my school or make this birthday appearance, I'll give you $500,000. And there's no one out there setting the market value. There's inconsistent rules from state to state. That's why later this month, there's actually going to be a hearing in Congress about name, image, likeness, and the potential of putting federal legislation, federal guardrails around it. So it is a crazy business right now. And those that have been in it for a while, ADs that have been in it for, they're all, I'm out. There's a lot of that happening, but it's coming. So how can we position UNF to take advantage of it or do the best we can? We're going to embrace name, image, likeness. We're going to make sure they have the best experience possible, that they feel loved and supported here. So before they jump in the portal, they're going to think twice because they know they have it good at UNF. You don't know what it's like out on the next school. You might not be loved and supported like you are here.
Y'all help me thank Nick again. So I told you there's a lot of great things going on out there at UNF. So Nick, thank you for leading the athletic department out there, and thank you for all you're doing. And I told you he was passionate about it. So, so thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing all that with us. And thank you, Matt, for being here. And Robert and Alexander, thank you for being here. And Timothy, thank you for being here with us today. Thanks to everybody that helped today's meeting be a success. And you guys, all our visitors, you're always welcome back here. We hope to see you again often. So thanks for being here. Raul's going to lead the four-way test. It's not up, so this will be the test.
President Sean, thank you again, Nick. Great presentation on UNF athletics. And I've been living for this moment, President Sean. This is a great test. No boards here. Four-way test, fellow Rotarians, of the things that we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth?
second,
Fair to all concerned.
third,
Will build goodwill and better friendships.
fourth,
Will be beneficial to all concerned.
in honor of my good friend Robert Pavelka, fifth.
Is it on?
Is it fun? Is it fun? Is it fun? It absolutely is fun. President Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Raul. And I blew the third one. I always, after all these years, I get the third one right. Okay, so our quote, oh, so don't forget, no lunch meeting next week, Black Sheep, 5:30 on Wednesday. Our quote for today, in honor of athletics: you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Wayne Gretzky. You guys have a great week. See you at Black Sheep next Wednesday.